Hey everybody, it's Friday, February 26th, about 1:44 in the afternoon. I'm tempted to say good morning because I just started my day. Those of you who have been watching my previous Snapchat stories know why I might be starting my day so late. Of course, some of them will probably be tempted to think that it's still jet lag, and I might be a little naive, but I do think I'm over the jet lag. The thing is that Wednesday night, I could have gone to bed and probably would have slept perfectly for the first time since being back from New Zealand, is what I got cut off from saying. But I chose not to go to bed, and instead I stayed up all night long until like 5:30 in the morning, working on putting about 25 to 30 days worth of Snapchat stories on YouTube. It was quite a process of converting all of the files and getting them uploaded. But it was totally worth it because it snapped my mind right back into work mode. I'm back into work mode. That's the most exciting. I did get about 3.5, maybe 4 hours of sleep in yesterday morning, which is why I got a late start yesterday. And last night I went to bed around midnight and slept all the way through until about 12 o'clock today. So I got about 12 hours of sleep, and I feel awesome. How do you feel, Steph?
I'm hungry.
And now Stephanie's hungry. I tried to do the whole flip thing to show you in the last nap, but when I did this, I didn't actually show you. I showed like in front of you or behind you. I'll let you guys guess where we're heading to lunch today. I'll tell you what, Stephanie's driving, and that got me to thinking about 2 Snapchat tips that I would love to give you. Snapchat tip number 1. Please don't snap and drive. And some of you who are following my Snapchat story might say, Hypocrite Alert. On my trip to Nashville before I went to New Zealand, I did do a little snapping from the road on my trip down. And I also did a snap while driving on my way home from Nashville. I thought they looked really cool. One was me on the highway showing the skyline of Nashville as I was entering the city. And then on the way home, it was early in the morning, like late night, early morning, and I showed the road as I was driving with a song that said something about home playing in the background. And they made for great snaps, entertaining. But when I got home, I got a talking to from my teenage daughter who's driving. You see, my daughter Megan is 16 and she actually has her driver's permit. And one of the scariest things for us as parents is to think about her texting and driving. And Stephanie just said,
it's actually other people texting and driving.
That's scary too. Our son Matthew will be driving next year, and then McKenna will be just a few years behind. So this is heavy on my heart. And you might think that it was my wife who gave me that talking to. Yes, that's a Kentucky thing. But no, as you may have found out from last night's Snapchat story during our workout, Stephanie does not follow me on Snapchat. She doesn't use Snapchat at all. It was my 16-year-old daughter, Megan, who saw my Nashville Snapchat stories, and she was not too happy with me when she saw that I was snapping and driving. And she was right. Absolutely right. And I stopped, and I promised her that I would never snap and drive again. And I had already promised her that I would not text and drive, and I don't do that. But I agree with her that snapping and driving is still a distraction, and it's not something I would want her to do. And for that reason, I shouldn't do it either. I mean, I could argue that I have enough experience in driving and that it's really no different than talking to the person sitting next to me in the car. But that's not true. You have to hold your finger down on a button in a specific place on your phone. You might decide to delete the snap and start over. And if you can't wait until later, you're probably looking for the little button to decide where that button is to send it to your Snapchat story. Anyway, all of these are a distraction, and technically, I think they're illegal in most states. Anyway, for me, I know that I am not going to be snapping and driving anymore, and I see a lot of you out there doing it. I wonder if by seeing me doing it, it's probably given some people the idea that Cliff does it, why shouldn't I? And if that's the case, I'm sorry, and I apologize, and I hope that this might set the record straight. Because the reality is you may snap and drive and have nothing happen, but how many people might you potentially encourage that it's okay for them to do it? And what if they're having that little self-permission to do it causes them to have an accident and hurt themselves or somebody else? Social media is awesome, and I love Snapchat probably more than most of you. But it's not worth it to snap and drive. And for those of you who guessed that we were having lunch at Chipotle, yep, you were right. We had an awesome lunch at Chipotle, and now Stephanie and I are in line to pick up the kids from school. It is now 3 o'clock, just got back to the house, had to switch out my pair of contacts. While we were at lunch, I noticed that things seemed a little bit more blurry than normal. And really odd, I could see better out of my right eye than my left eye, and that's normally not the case. You'll probably notice that my eye over here is really red and bloodshot right now, and that's because I was trying to take my contact out to see if I had it in backwards. Well, after many attempts, and then having my wife confirm it, turns out I didn't have a contact in at all. I must have accidentally washed it down the drain and thought that I had got it into the eye, but at least I'm only 11 days away from when I would have put a new pair in anyway. Stephanie's going to be taking Megan to the gym again today. They're working out together, and that means at 3:30 I need to leave here to pick up McKenna from school. It's currently 3:05 p.m. and that leaves me about 25 minutes to check and see what's going on in my email and to see what's on my to-do list that I can get done before I leave. That 25 minutes flew by. Time to get McKenna. I didn't quite get inbox 0. So I'm waiting in line here to pick up McKenna from school, and on the way to coming here, I was listening to the latest episode of Mac Break Weekly. Renee Ritchie, one of the panelists on the show, was talking about how he switched over to the Authy app for his two-factor authentication codes. I also recently made the switch from Google Authenticator app over to Authy just before I went to New Zealand. I just learned that in the home screen / notification center, I can turn on Authy so that my codes display right from the drop down. I just turned this feature on and it works perfect, and I even tested it with the screen locked and it just shows locked instead of the code. I love listening to podcasts and the things that you can learn from them. In fact, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I encourage you to check out podcastanswerman.com, episode number 413. The title of the episode is 9 Tips for Better Online Security, and I explain all about two-factor authentication there. You can listen at podcastanswerman.com/413. Awesome development. McKenna asked if we could go on a date tonight, and she said I should take her up on it because she doesn't usually like to hang out with people. We're going to go see a movie called, what's it called, McKenna?
Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the Eagle. The coolest thing is that she said I could Snapchat our date tonight. This means that I need to get right back down here and finish my email inbox and as much as I can on my to-do list. And I also need to get my cardio in before we leave, and I'm going to take her to dinner before the movie starts. It's now 4:23 p.m. I have completed email inbox 0, and I've either completed all my tasks for the day or moved a couple of them till tomorrow. Okay, I've got time to get a 45-minute cardio workout in before I begin my date night with McKenna. This means that I'm going to have to combine my cardio workout with my second Snapchat tip that I told you I was going to share. Hope you guys don't mind this Snapchat tip coming from the elliptical. It'll be a little bouncy. So a lot of people who are seen as experts in the Snapchat space have been recommending something that I completely disagree with. If you go into the settings for Snapchat, you'll see a place where you can enter your name, also known as display name. What the experts have said, and I've heard 3 or 4 of them say this, they suggest that you make your display name the same as your username. Their argument is that this is how people are going to see your name all the time, and if they want to tell other people to follow you, make it easy for them to remember your username because they see it all the time. I could not disagree more. Bad advice. You see, the idea of social media is to be social, and it helps us to get to know each other on a deeper level. And you know,
if you send me a private snap and your username shows up as KYMAC2135, I have no idea what your name is. So you just sent me a private video snap, said something really awesome to me, and I can't respond and use your first name. It's crazy the number of people who are having daily conversations with me, and I have no idea what their name is. There are a lot of reasons why I choose to either follow or not follow someone, but one of the things is if I don't know your first name, I'm definitely not gonna follow you. You could do what my friend Christy Gillentine does. She puts her display name as Christy space at Chris Gillentine. Me, however, my display name is just Cliff Ravenscraft. That's who I am. My username is Cliff EOTC, and if you want to tell other people to follow me, it's not that hard to find out what my username is. Bonus tip, if you want a little bit more chances of having somebody follow you, add an image to your profile on Snapchat. In the next snaps, I'll tell you how to do that. You start on your main screen in Snapchat, it's your camera mode, and then swipe down. You'll see your BOOR code. It's basically your QR code for Snapchat. Go ahead and just tap on that once. And then from there, it's pretty self-evident how to add your image, or images, as you'll find out, to your Snapchat profile. Remember, friends, please always keep the social in social media. And my marketing friends, it's okay to promote our products and services from time to time, occasionally. I even do it here sometimes on Snapchat. But it's a total turnoff, not just to me, but to pretty much everyone, if your Snapchat story is just an ongoing daily commercial. I hope that you enjoyed those tips and that they'll lead you to better engagement on Snapchat and ultimately deeper relationships with others. Many blessings. I gotta tell you guys, cardio after leg day, whew, it's totally worth it though. All right guys, check it out. I am here to pick up my date for this evening, and she is working on her daily news article for her school. I'm super excited for McKenna because she already knows how much she loves to write and she wants to be an author.
I love you because you used punctuation.
Alright guys, this could get a little dicey, but McKenna is going to read the article that she just wrote. Get ready.
I hate it when my teachers say that they got a math problem wrong because the day of the week is Monday. No, this is because you made a mathematical mistake and are afraid to admit it. You can't just go and tell me that the reason you think 6 + 2 = 10 is because the universe decided that today was going to be a Monday. I will not allow excuses. This is stupid. If you wanted to get the problem right, you could have spent the weekend practicing math, but instead you were out at the mall with your gal pals. So next time you say that you are not mentally able to answer a question reflecting on a human's general knowledge, you can go cry to your mommy and not use unnecessary excuses. Maybe you should have stayed in college a little longer instead of ruining my elementary school experience. How about you get out of my classroom for a change?
Just so everyone knows, nobody's actually going to see this newsletter, except McKenna might share it with a friend or two at school, but it's just her blowing off steam through writing. Anyway, I may have made it just a little bit more public than she intended, but I love my daughter and how she expresses herself.
Jamie's be coming.
McKenna and I are now on our way out, and she said that at dinner she'd be willing to answer questions from the community. So if you'd like McKenna to answer your question, send me a private snap with your question and we'll answer it at dinner, hopefully. McKenna and I are here at dinner at our favorite Mexican restaurant, other than Chipotle, called El Rio Grande. Cheers. Our first question, and John wants to know, McKenna, what makes a good day for you?
To make a great day, I would like kale, intelligent teachers, and being alone.
That's my introverted daughter, just like her dad. We both like to be alone. Get this, McKenna just subscribed to her very first podcast. We're talking about how much she enjoys her literature class at school, and she was telling me that she wished they had a class just on grammar. So I told her about my friend Mignon Fogarty, who is known as Grammar Girl, and she got really excited and she's downloaded our podcast. Have made it to the movies, and we were singing Billy Joel songs together in the car. Sing it.
You wanna know, but what do you want? I hate you.
What?
I love you.
Alrighty, it is 10 o'clock and we have just returned home from our daddy-daughter date. It was awesome. I want to say thank you to all of you who had submitted questions after we had dinner. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to those questions tonight. McKenna's already heading off to bed, but next time I'll try to give a little bit more advanced notice. I do want to say this. Eddie the Eagle is an incredibly awesome movie. McKenna and I both loved it, and I actually teared up at the end. Not sad tears at all. Instead, they were the kind of tears that you get when you're so excited and overjoyed. It was a very emotional, positive emotional ending. I just got to say, I love Hugh Jackman as an actor, and he was incredible in this movie. I'm on the fence about whether or not I'm a fan of Christopher Walken as an actor, but he was in this movie, and he played a really awesome role. Christopher Walken was barely in the movie at all, but the impact that he had over the overall story was incredible. So yeah, Eddie the Eagle gets 2 thumbs up from me, and also from McKenna. Now I get to spend some time alone with Stephanie before she has to pick Megan up from work, and until next time, I encourage each of you to take everything you do to the next level.